and you tell me when.
In the United States.
Right.
Okay,
So
go.
are we recording?
We're recording now, yeah.
Okay, we're talking about the gorilla that had to be killed because a child went over into the gorilla's habitat at the Cincinnati Zoo in the United States of America. Now, the other thing our listeners need to understand is I'm in a car and I'm driving. So
that's against the law, isn't it?
No, not in this state. I have earphones on.
Okay.
So this is a hands-free experience. But you may hear the driving, or I might lose my connection and have to call you back.
Okay,
so,
no problem.
All of that said, let us say that we're talking about judgment and who is responsible. Social media and people in the community there and around the world feels that the mother and the father of this child should somehow suffer the consequences of their child's action. If their child had been monitored, held on to, we're playing the if-and game. If all of that been held true, the gorilla would still be alive today. Okay. So what if you saw a 4-year-old child, he's either 3 or 4, climbing around the gorilla's habitat, and there were 3 boundaries that this child had to go past in order to fall into the habitat. 3 boundaries. There was 3 chances that this child could be pulled back from the edge.
Why didn't someone else say something? Was that she just by herself in that gorilla habitat? Was there other people there?
The other people were there.
So the question is why didn't someone else say something?
Is it legally they're responsible for saying
something?
Well,
no, it's not legally.
There we go.
It's not legal. They can observe the little child falling into the habitat, and
which everybody did, and took cell phone video of it.
Oh, that's right. They took a video of it. I'm sorry.
So, there were people there watching this go on, and nobody stopped the child. And we're talking about societies, if society has a responsibility, and does everybody there share the guilt? Now, if this is not my child, and I didn't notice that child, how can I be responsible for not noticing?
Now, that's true, because not me, because I'm an ex-teacher, I notice all children and their behaviors quickly.
Correct, because
my sonar.
Right, that's your DNA. Okay,
it's a sonar thing.
You hold on and on. Now, if somebody reached out to correct that child, we don't. The whole thing we don't know, and we're playing the what if. But we're playing this what if to unpack, to understand, to tease out whatever verbs anybody wants to use. Why didn't somebody stop and tap that parent on the shoulder or tap that child with going, I don't think that's a good idea.
Right, or snap. Because sometimes a little child will, behave better if another person they don't know says something. Yeah, that's true.
Then that's, and I actually had a conversation with a woman in Walmart. There was a child screaming and bellowing because of what something wanted, and the mama said no. And the mama was held captive by that child, pushing that child around in the basket all over Walmart, and this child screaming and yelling, and all it would have taken is me to walk up to that child and say, well, hello, what's your name? And that child would have shut down and been quiet. And why do today's children have this rebellious streak of disrespect for the people of their parents or adults or their teachers? Has the pendulum gone further over into a place where the adults don't want to go?
Yeah, because that place that the parents don't want to go is that they have let their children become the most spoiled little brats on the planet.
Well, they become because the parent themselves has this hole in them that they don't feel loved, or they need this love or this admiration from this child this child has a job to feed the parent's ego, or the child is a possession that the parent wears on their finger.
Oh, that's interesting.
You know, there's so many things. So if I was there or you were there and we said something to this child,
I'm sure the mother would have said, "Hey, that's not your child. You know, keep your
that's right. The mother
She would have been nasty
that.
to me for grabbing him and taking him off the fence. But I would have said, and I would have hoped that I would have had the crowd to back me up. This is very dangerous for a little baby to do this. And look at the sign; it says "Stay off the fence."
Well, the thing
I
is
would have
this,
stood on that
right. But
cusp.
to hope to have the crowd to back you up is not as important as trying to save that child from harm. I can
that's
speak
true.
first person. This happened to me. I was taking aura photos. I was in a bookstore that had 3 cats, and the cats know that I'm base. If the cats come and get in my tent or get around me, children are not allowed. Okay, and I tell the children that the cats are in timeout. Well, apparently that's the child's language, and they understand, and they walk away and leave the cats alone. Well, this one boy was tormenting this particular cat. And these cats at the time were elderly. So these cats were over 13, 14, 15 years old. And they had short tempers and fuses. You know, after all, their whole life is this bookstore and all the people that come in it. And there's not much escape. And Amber was getting ready to scratch him. And I got Amber to come to me, and I said to the little boy, I don't think you should bother Miss Amber. She's a grandma kitty, and she's tired, and we need to leave her alone. And he got mad and went to his mother. And his mother came firecracking mad at me, just like a rocket ship at me. And I said to her, ma'am, she said, first of all, I had no right to correct her son. Second of all, these cats lived in this place, and they were there to serve the customers. That was her attitude. And she was defending her son's right for being able to pet the cat. And I said to her, ma'am, I do understand your feelings. First of all, I acknowledged how she felt. And I said, and I know that you're teaching your son respect. I was hoping that was the truth. And I said to her that the cat was growling, and I was concerned for his safety. I didn't want him to get scratched because I know how much he's loved by you. And I didn't want the cat to be in trouble for scratching him.
Did she back off?
So I intervened. She eventually backed up. But it took 5 or 10 minutes to calm her down, to allow her to see that I was trying to create a space where her child could enjoy the cat and the cat could enjoy her space, where they could be this mutual understanding. But she, in the beginning, did not want to let go. Now, we are just projecting at this moment on this woman at the railing of the...
Well, I understand what it's like to have my first son, Marco, from the United States. He was hell on wheels. I mean, I basically had to hold him around with his T-shirt. I couldn't let him go in the Walmart. You know, I would not go to the zoo at that age with Marco because he was, I was afraid he would be, jump in there and play with the kitty cats and stuff because he was that rambunctious. So I would not even take him to the zoo. So I already knew my limits with that kind of child.
Right, but see, the thing is this, you recognized it. People today feel that they are entitled. I can take my child anywhere and leave a mess strode behind for somebody else to clean up because that's their job security. I saw that Sunday at a restaurant. There was a little boy that was 19 months old, and there was a little boy that was 2 years. Now, granted, those 4 months, those 4 or 5 months that between the children's maturation, they're growing up, might be a difference. But the 2-year-old child was throwing things, acting out. He was taking his high chair that he was in and rocking it so it was walking across the restaurant. And the woman was being so, come here, baby. We can't really do that now. Whatever his name was, let me pull you back. You can't do this. No, you can't have that because you're throwing it down constantly. This kind of
behavior
on both of them. In other words, she was not setting strong enough boundaries with this child to know that this behavior is not going to be tolerated. He kept doing the same thing over and over and over again. Then I saw another lady at a table with her daughter, and they're still about the same age, give this little girl a basket full of butter and individual butters that were in little plastic containers, and what do you call it, and jellies. And they turned the whole basket upside down, and she was throwing it all on the floor. And then the mother was picking it up off the floor and putting it back in the basket. For the next unknowing customer to pick up this germ-covered container, open it up with the germs on their fingers, butter their toast, and then pick up the toast with their fingers. She had no clue of what she was doing to the humanity.
Okay, so I guess we're gonna peel this back a little bit more, another layer. So you're saying that people are not aware of their responsibility of what
to themselves and to society.
Right, and to what they bring to the next person that comes into that space.
Correct. The 19-month-old child, he was so well behaved. He sat there. He was attentive to his parents. They interacted with him. He felt that he was the focus of their attention. He was so calm, and he was so well behaved. People who misbehave as children, people who misbehave as adults, they have not gotten the kind of energy from their environment that validates them as okay or as accepted. And they've only learned that when you misbehave, you get
attention.
Energy. You get attention. And they crave this attention. They crave
as a teacher. Absolutely. As a teacher, you could see that they loved it when they make the whole class laugh, and then once the whole class laugh, you lose the whole control of the class.
Well, the student though gets the attention from the class, and they get the class. So it becomes a power play.
It's a power play
between the clown in the classroom and the teacher, and it's totally disrespectful.
Yes,
it's totally disrespectful.
Now we're going to talk about the energy. Yeah, wait. We
can splice it.
We're 13 minutes in. 13 minutes. So we can probably come to a conclusion. So here we know that the problems...
Well, we'll go into round 2 or 3 on this subject.
Yeah, because this one, I've seen and actually had to stop teaching because of the disrespect that a student threw a book at me. Of course, I'm clever enough to duck it. But it could have caused damage if I had let it hit me.
It was the intention of that student.
Right.
That was the book was the projectile, but the intention is what picked that book up and what caused it to go into the air.
Right.
And what we were talking about is bringing the attention, your intention, to any place and being responsible for the outcome.
Well, now let's go back to the gorilla and the thing. If we're all going to attack the poor woman, because I kind of feel sorry for her because the whole world is against her right now.
But you know what? It is. If you want to say legally, she did not live up to her responsibility, and if that makes it doesn't matter if one person's against her, the world's against her, she's against herself. That's where she is. It doesn't matter about the whole world.
I see. It's so me being, observing the situation and having a child that's, hell on wheels. I can kind of understand that.
They make leashes for children in the cutest ways. They make them into backpacks. and the children have these backpacks on their shoulders, and they put
Yes,
little things in the backpacks.
we
There's ways to contain children. It's about how responsible are you? Is that parent depending on somebody else to keep her child out of the gorilla cage? Are those people standing around and
yeah, see, that's where
happening?
I go. I think even those guys around the gorilla pen, I bet you $10 that someone else saw him get up into that thing and could have stopped it.
Well, or could they have stopped it? Was it their responsibility?
No, it's not their responsibility. No, but in a way, Laura, because they didn't choose to make the right choice of a moral choice, okay? Now a gorilla is dead. And the boy could have been really seriously injured.
Okay, that energy, that intention we can carry, if we're looking for a universal conscious truth, was it my responsibility to get up and become the cosmic police for these other parents who were allowing their children to throw the butter and the jelly down, and the other one running and scooting across the
cosmic
restaurant?
Police. Oh,
the
love
cosmic
it.
police. Am I the cosmic police that I see because I have a gift of sight? Am I responsible for all the outcomes around me because I either choose to engage or I choose not to engage?
Okay, we're going to stop at cosmic police because we're out of time.
Okay,
that's a whole nother subject, cosmic police, because I think that's what I am. Because I'm watching and observing, and I've been on the streets and yelling at kids for throwing apples at cars, and so I think maybe I can peel back a little bit and say, hey, I need to just observe it maybe. But I feel responsible, I feel responsible for that.
Let's do responsibility, the next responsibility for part 2 of this
Okay.
conversation.
All right, we'll stop there.